the way he roster builds, mental strength, fortitude, those are things that he really, really emphasizes in recruiting.
The 106th all-time meeting between Harvard and Yale. And a scrap for it. Machado Rodriguez, 37 in blue, thought he had the victory, but it is indeed Harvard's Sean Jordan that comes out of there first, and the Crimson have that key early possession.
Stevens give them something on defense that allows them to lean into it and know that they can stop some people if they have to.
Back to the Faceoff X. Jackson Henehan's had a good day. He's subbed out in that instance. And Yale able to come away with a face-off and an opportunity for a quick Pours goal.
That is a tough goal. But once again, running out of the box, you get an upperclassman, full head of steam. In my opinion, I played on the offensive end of the field. The goalies aren't supposed to make the saves. The ball is so small, you're always supposed to score.
Transition, missed wide. That was King. And it is backed up by Spidey. You know, there's a certain piece of that the shooting percentage numbers for Harvard this year, like they pick the right shots, they pick the right moments, but today they're just all going in. Some of that's being good.
I think that is tremendously accurate by you, Joel. They're all hitting the cage, they're all going in, and this is a really, really tough start for Conrad in the goal.
And it's incredible that Harvard wins yet another face-off. Now 4 for 6.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Here's Logan Darren, who's done a great job.
With a pole right into the stick.
Whole week getting ready for certain schemes with certain players. You hope that the scheme can carry if something were to happen. But this is another weight that this Yale team is going to have to carry here. Down 6-0 with just under 3 minutes in the first quarter.
Henehan now 3 for 4 on faceoffs, wins almost. Another one here for Harvard. Ball is still loose, deep in the offensive zone. And this is going to be a Yale. 2 minutes left to go in the first quarter. It's Barraco now going against Machado Rodriguez. And an easy win for Rodriguez. Still has it himself. Rodriguez can shoot, dishes off instead, and Yale wisely slows things down. Johnson. Forced by Nelson to his right.
Off a same plane shot this game. Johnson's was a low to high. We'll give him some credit. That was beautiful.
What's Guest do differently?
I think Guest needs to be more aggressive because Lyons is bigger than him. And he's an attackman, so you got to get real physical. Tandy did the same move earlier with his right. He is so good getting off his line when he dodges and pushes the cage. It's almost impossible to defend and impossible to slide to him.
King and Stuzen, classmates at Gilman School down in Baltimore. I don't know if that's fun to see each other at the collegiate level or if it's competitive or what, but it's a hell of a matchup in the Ivy League. Yale trying to go quickly, dumping it down on the doorstep.
#106th meeting, wow. Here we go, early possession. Yale has made the adjustment. They're really winning the initial clamp. They're not really giving up the ground ball.
Shot goes wide.
You see the size difference. Martin Nelson is like a giant out there compared to Leo Johnson. I don't think it's going to matter.
First-year starting keeper Hugh Conrad for Yale. He's made 3 saves, but 8 goals against here in the first quarter plus. Sometimes you're hung out to dry a little bit, though. Yale wins the faceoff. You mentioned the Yale was so decimated by injuries a year ago, and yet still had a decent season. But amongst those injuries, Leo Johnson, who scored today, and Chris Lyons, who has scored twice today. Both of them missed the entire year. Takes a little bit of time to get your sea legs back, to play real games against real company.
A little action in front of Moynihan, and it was enough to give him enough to shoot, and you can see how quick and skilled these Yale shooters are getting the ball off.
Rodriguez had a quick clamp on that faceoff, although ground ball war. Looks like it's going to be won here by Harvard. So with the lead cut to 4, chance to grow it back. Dearth moving quickly, he goes low. I think the shot never made it to cage. Loose ball is picked up. Yale's got to get out of here, though, against one of the best riding teams in the country. You didn't think this was going to be a blowout, did you?
No, because once again, as we talked about, both of the gentlemen at the front of each bench are excellent recruiters and coaches. There's depth, there's mentality, there's composure on these rosters, and it's going to be a great one because it's also the game.
I don't know if we can call that a yard sale. Stick just snapped in half. Barraco will try his hand against Rodriguez. Barraco left, Rodriguez right. And Barraco went early. Unreleasable penalty for the contact to the head against Logan Darren. So assuming you win the face-off here, another 90 seconds or so. Opportunity. And Yale's going to easily win the face-off. Machado Rodriguez, one of the best in the Ivy League, starting to lock in here in the second quarter. One on the goalie. Like, he's doing his work early to create pretty free shots.
He's really tough to deal with and slow down on the approach because he's so dynamic and so quick right and left. That's really what I see he does so well. He gets off his dodging line and makes both the defender and the slide have to go somewhere and a little farther, and that's really tough to do when you're Sam King. Really, anytime his hands are free, it's on point.
In every game he has ever played in college.
That's really impressive because that is really, really tough to do. That is a great job because he's not an unknown. He was never he was never an unknown.
You figure like you have a bad day sometime.
Or you get injured or you're nicked or something, but he just produces and produces.
Barraco himself is just 2 for 6. Rodriguez. Good stand-up work by Barraco, trying to make this messy. 14 seconds left to go. And Yale will have a chance to get rid of this thing with 9 seconds left. David, thank you. That's one of those things you've got to keep an eye out for now because Michael Alexander was the guy that was covering Sam King, who's the best offensive weapon that Harvard has.
Stuzen and Alexander had their hands full before the game even started, and with Alexander going down, Coach Shea just got to reach into that bag of tricks even deeper.
Henehan going head-to-head with Rodriguez here on the face-off. Wings coming in to mix things up, but Yale wins another. You've talked so much about how Harvard has moved pieces on offense. Spidell began the game playing a lot behind the cage. We've seen him more recently playing right in front on the doorstep. If you're Yale defensively, you have to be able to adapt to a lot of different looks.
Agreed. And both.
Pretty clean win on the faceoff, though, by Henehan. At a needed time for Harvard. Something here. Maybe we see a Jared Paquette appearance. He's played in 2 games this year. Conrad settled down. Yale settled in. But now it's back to a 4-goal lead. Good ride here on the faceoff as the third quarter comes to a close. 15 minutes left to go.
Conversations, but he did say that it's been eye-opening to hear about the NFL offers that guys like Johnson and Lyons have received. And Adam, you made a good point to us before the game. Not only are they transferring, they were the first 2 to announce where they'd be transferring 26 season.
That was a really big deal. I remember that because only a few days.
So much, not just by putting the ball in the back of the cage.
On that midfield group, we've talked about Cortez being the thermometer. Perry is the hammer. It's Logan Ip that draws the slides. He's two-handed. He's the one that you got to kind of decide where you put the pole on.
12 minutes left to go in the game. Michael Savadov had the assignment. A whistle off the face-off that will go against Harvard. They keep flipping back. As I said, I was curious what that conversation was about. Here we go. Not surprisingly, Machado Rodriguez wins the faceoff. Down by 3 with 1:51 to go. And timeout called by Yale.